guys, so it is about 5:45 in the evening on Monday, April 22nd. I got out of work today at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and I had a pretty crap day, so I came home and basically got into some comfy clothes. Robert made dinner, and he just headed off to work because this week he's actually working some later shifts, and if you watched the end of last week's vlog, you know that part of the reason I'm having a crap day is because my car is messed up. Basically, on Easter Sunday, which was yesterday, Robert had gone to his dad's house to drop some stuff off, and basically the brake lines in my car had essentially gone out, and one of the brake lines actually snapped off. We had to leave my car at my parents' house for them to take in and get fixed, so hopefully it should be fixed sometime this week, and maybe later, this week or at the end of the week, I can go back home and get my car. But yeah, so it's been a bit of a crap time because of that, and then also work's just been really, really stressful lately. I'm not feeling like I'm doing what is making me happy at the moment. I feel like I'm just floundering in this position that I thought I was going to be okay with. So I've been starting to think of some other options for myself. I'm thinking I might do some stuff from home if I can, if things don't start to get better. I'm going to give it like another month for things to change for me. And if things do not change, I think I'm going to change the career I would like to do. It will probably take some time because I'd have to do some testing stuff with it, because a lot of it's like working from home. Like I would want to do some transcription work and freelance writing, and so it would take a little bit for like my applications and stuff to like be sent out. So if things though don't get better by about, I would say like Memorial Day of, at the end of May, I'm definitely going to be looking at something different because I'm just very unhappy with how I am at work, and I feel like I'm not being treated with the respect I deserve. So that's basically what's been going through my mind. But today was actually a little bit better than most days have been. Today was just really stressful because we have had inventory today, and we have inventory over 2 days this week apparently, which I thought was only supposed to be over 1 day. But yeah, we had inventory start today, so that was a little stressful because we had a lot of like things to take care of, but we also had like 10 people from this company that were doing the inventorying that were in the store, and so there was a whole hodgepodge of messes going on. Anyway, so since I've been home, I've read a little bit of Recipe for Love. I read a little bit of it today at work. I listened to about an hour and 25 minutes of A Clash of Kings. This week was really weird for my filming stuff because Sunday I couldn't film because I was at home celebrating Easter. So I think I may even just cancel my videos for this week and just not do them because it's going to be way more stressful for me to do the videos. I think the only one I will do, because it's not as excessive of me to do it, is the Sims video, because that's just very easy for me to do. It's a quick like half-hour video, and I don't have to like do my makeup or anything. So I think I might just record that because also it doesn't require me to set up anything. I just have to go on my computer and play it. So I think I might do that. I think that'll be the only video that I do this week that is of my normally scheduled videos, which means I won't have, again, my makeup inspired by video or my tag video for this week, and then I also won't have my vocal cover for this week, which kind of sucks considering the last week I didn't have my makeup inspired by video or my tag video. But I would rather, have less stress on myself right now, especially when I'm already feeling so overwhelmed, than overwhelm myself. Like, I would rather spend more time trying to get my arcs done than feeling like I'm overwhelmed with trying to do my videos and read and all this stuff. So I think I'm going to focus on that today. I think tomorrow during my day off I will record my Sims video because it won't take me very long to record. So yeah, that's kind of my plan. I feel like that's going to make the most sense for me. So I'm sorry if you guys really miss my videos that I put out, but just, it's a matter of me just feeling comfortable with the fact that, I'm at a point where I'm starting to feel overwhelmed with a lot of stuff, and I feel like this is a nice break for me. I don't have to worry about as much, and it gives me a nice mental reprieve, and that's something that's really important. Anyway, I'm gonna sit here and enjoy my dinner and read more of Recipe for Love. I'm liking it so far, but I haven't really gotten that far into it to really make any judgment calls. I'm only like 11% of the way through it, which isn't very much because it's like 275 pages. but it's got some promise. I'm just interested to see how the story plays out, because it's another female-female romance, but deals with a chef that has just received a really important position with a new restaurant, and one of the distributors that she works with that does like they do like the farm to table system kind of thing. So one of the other characters is a farmer who basically like gives her the plants and the vegetables and stuff that she needs for her food. So I'm interested to see how it's going to go, because it's kind of a little bit it's another one of those stories where it's kind of like a dislike to love trope, I think, which I really liked with Pretending in Paradise. So I'm hoping that Recipe for Love will make me just as happy, but we will see. So I'm going to try to finish this today, because I mean, it's only going to take me like 6 hours, I think, to read it. And if I just don't really do much else today, I think I can get it done before I go to bed today. So it is 11:37 at night, and I just finished Recipe for Love by Aurora Ray. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars because it was really cute. There were a lot of very awesome moments, and I really did enjoy it, but I wasn't overtly like crying or, you know, emotional by the end of the story. It was very cute. It was very rom-com-y though, and I feel like it's definitely one of the rom-com stories I kind of would have turned my head away from if it was to have been a movie. But it was very cute. It focused a lot on the building relationship between the two main characters, Drew and Hannah. Overall, really enjoyed it. So I gave myself another 50 points for the HouseCupathon because it was 273 pages. So yeah, Hufflepuff is still, at this moment in time, in second place. We are officially 200 points behind Ravenclaw, so I think we're gonna get there. It's probably gonna come down to like this last full week and then the last few days of April. The thing is that the Ravenclaw group is reading a lot of bigger books. That's how they're getting all their pages in, whereas me, I'm reading a lot of arcs that are smaller because it's, you know, they're arcs I have to get through, but they're smaller books. They're like less than 300 pages, so I'm not getting as many points for them, and most of them are not counting for any specific challenges. The last one that counted for a challenge was actually Pretending in Paradise, because I realized that I'd not read anything specifically placed in Florida, so I decided to count that for my Diagon Alley challenge, which was to read a book in a place you've never read before, which, you know, I've never read anything based in Florida, so I decided to use that. So that got me like 100 points a couple days ago. Since it is almost midnight, I'm very tired. I'm going to be getting ready to go to bed here soon, but I wanted to update you guys. The next book I'm going to be reading is called Survivor's Guilt and Other Stories. It's kind of like it's a collection of stories that are mystery and thriller based, I think, and I think it has something to do with a hurricane that happens. I'm not quite sure. I think it has something to do with Hurricane Katrina, but let me see. So according to the synopsis, it says that a Katrina survivor waits for rescue on his roof in the brutal heat, reflecting on the life choices that brought him to this moment. A young woman discovers there's more to her perfect man than she thought. A gay journalist travels to Italy to interview his teen idol, only to discover a darkness in the Tuscan hills. A gay man cleans his home, reflecting on his sociopathic criminal mother. Chance McLeod returns to his hometown to help his younger brother accused of murder. A daughter keeps her father's legacy alive while hiding his darkest secrets. So it's a lot of like thriller and mystery short stories, I think, that are in this collection, and they are all dealing with people that are various survival instances. You know, there's with a hurricane survivor, there's you know, some other darker things going on that involve survivors. So I'm interested to see how this goes, because it seems like it's going to be very heavy, and I'm hoping it's not going to like make me bawl my eyes out, but it's only like 263 pages, I think, so I think I'm going to be able to get through it tomorrow. And since tomorrow I have the day off, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff. I'm going to try to get up a little earlier because I have a lot that I want to get done on my to-do list. I obviously need to get my Pretending in Paradise review and Recipe for Love reviews out. Since I'm not doing any videos though, this week is going to be a lot easier on me because, you know, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm also going to, though, record my Sims video because that is the only video I actually would like to continue putting out because it is part of a series that I try to update regularly because it's a story-based series and I really want to continue with that, whereas like my makeup inspired by video and my tag videos and my vocal covers aren't as important because it's not like they're in a serialized manner to where, you know, each episode means something kind of thing. Hey guys, so it is 7:14, almost 7:15 on Wednesday, and I totally did not realize I didn't film it all yesterday, so I'm very sorry. So yesterday I had the day off from work, and I really didn't even get up until like 10 o'clock, I think, and so I did a lot of stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did quite a lot of stuff. I recorded my childhood Let's Play for this week, and I basically did some reading. I started the next book, that I'm working on about halfway through with. I don't quite know how to feel about it right now. I feel like the collection overall is sitting at a 3-star because there was like maybe one good story that I really, really liked, or maybe 1 or 2 stories out of like the few I've read so far. And the rest of them, I'm just sitting back kind of confused because there's a few stories where I'm like, how exactly are these characters survivors of anything? There's some very vague things going on within some of these stories that I'm not quite sure how to determine if these guys are like actually victims of or of some kind, and then how they're survivors. Like some of them, it's blatantly obvious how they're survivors. The very first story is about a man who has survived Hurricane Katrina, and he's stuck in the roof of his house. His wife, unfortunately, is dead, and he's waiting for someone to come rescue him as he's been on the top of his roof for now several days, and he's run out of water. Several stories involve some kind of violence that is either witnessed or upon the individual. There's several stories, though, that I'm sitting back and very confused with because there was one in particular where the whole idea about being a survivor didn't really like make sense in this fact because the character didn't seem to have survived anything other than maybe the death of her father, but there was some kind of like weird dynamic that happened between her and her dad. I don't even quite know. I almost want to say that she might have been infatuated with her father, like on a sexual level. I don't even quite understand. Like, it was a very, very weird story that I didn't quite get. But there's some that are pretty good, and so that's kind of why I'm sitting at a 3-star right now. I'm still only like halfway through it, but I'm gonna crank it out in a couple hours now because it's not very long. I only have like a couple hours left of it according to the Kindle version, so I'm gonna crank that out. And then also I just finished editing my vlog, so I think that should hopefully be done exporting by the time I finish Survivor's Guilt and other stories. So hopefully I'll be able to upload that. And then I also want to make my May spread for my bullet journal. So I think while I'm doing that, I'm going to listen to my audiobook because I think if I get started now, I should be done with my book by about maybe 9:30. And that way I can listen to my audiobook for a couple hours because I need to get A Clash of Kings done. But I just got a text from my mom saying that she wants to talk to me, so. Oh, by the way, car update, because I didn't say that yet. On Tuesday, I got a call from my parents saying that the car was done. The brake line was fixed, basically, so it's ready. It's fixed. It's waiting for me at home, but I have to wait until Sunday to go get it because Robert has to work the rest of this week. He had today off, but I had to work I was supposed to work until 3:30, but I got out at 1, and I have to go in tomorrow at 7:30, and I might only be there till 1. It depends because we have our truck coming in that we have every Thursday come in. So basically, I'm just not going to be able to go get my car until Sunday before Robert goes to work. So anyway, I'm going to talk to my mom for a little bit, and I will update you guys with my final results for Survivor's Guilt and Other Stories because I'm a little on the fence with it. So it is now 11:21 at night, and I just finished Survivor's Guilt and Other Stories. I am giving the collection of short stories a 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay, but I think I missed the mark on the intent of a lot of the stories because I felt like some of their endings or just their stories in general, I thought were all supposed to fit a certain theme, which was to focus on survivors of different things. And granted, there were actually a lot of stories in there, probably about 75% of them that fit that theme of being a survivor of natural disaster, survivors of abuse, things of that nature. But there were several stories that I just kind of sat back and I was kind of questioning the intent of placing in the collection, because I felt like they didn't really advocate for any kind of like survivor-esque ideas. And that may have been my fault with going in with these kinds of expectations, because at the end of the novel, the author of all the short stories actually goes into several of the stories of when he wrote them and what he was intending for several of the stories, and kind of like his process with writing them. Basically, this was a collection of random stories that he thought all had crime or suspenseful elements that seemed to work together. And looking at it from that perspective, I think it works, because the collection is called Survivor's Guilt and Other Stories, Tales of Mystery and Suspense, basically, or Crime and Suspense. So this is partially on my end of why I didn't understand a lot of the stories, is because I was focusing more on the fact that there was the idea of having survivors, because I was expecting there to be a lot of talk about survivor's guilt. Despite that, the stories, I think, were just, some of them were a little too vague for me. Some of the stories just also had very unsatisfactory endings, or all kind of just ended the same, which I was not okay with, because I felt like it was not really that diverse with the content. I feel like Greg Harry has a very great writing style. It definitely lends well to crime and suspense stories, so I do not think he is one to be missed with it, but I felt like this collection as a whole just was not where I wanted it to be, and that's okay. You know, some things just don't end up surprising me as much as I want them to, and that's okay. I still enjoyed it. I still had a good time reading it. I definitely got some ideas of my own for my work that I'm doing, so not at all a bad run. But I'm gonna basically end tonight here. I was going to do my May spread, but it is now way too late for me to do that, because it is now almost 11:30 at night. I need to go to bed because I have to get up early for work tomorrow, but I think I will do my May spread tomorrow, because I think I'm gonna get some good time in to listen to my audiobook. So I'm going to update my Discord real quick and then basically just get around for bed. So I will see all of you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, it is just after 3:30 in the afternoon on Thursday, and Robert just got in the shower. I've been home since about just after 1, because I only had to work from 7:30 to 1 today. The truck basically got there as soon as I was at work this morning, so we got the truck done in like about 2 hours, I think, and then I was spent the rest of the day stocking, so I was only supposed to be there till 1. I got home, I uploaded my vlog from last week, wrote my review for Survivor's Guilt and Other Stories, and sat and watched a little bit of Nurse Jackie, which is what Robert and I are currently watching. We like to bounce around from a lot of different things based on kind of what our mood is. Like, we stopped watching The Sopranos just because he kind of got tired of rewatching it. We've been off and on with The Office, been watching a few episodes of Friends here and there. We stopped watching Sneaky Pete just because I don't think we've really gotten in the mood to watch that anymore. I like it. It's really good. But we just kind of go through moods of like what we watch. Like, I'm not a mood reader. I'm a mood watcher. So he is more so than I am. But also, we just decided to start Nurse Jackie. Well, he did, honestly, like yesterday. We're already on season 2, and we just started it yesterday. But he wanted to watch it because we knew that the main woman, Jackie, the woman that plays her, Edie Falco, was Carmela Soprano from The Sopranos. So we had heard about Nurse Jackie, you know, and how she was in it, and I think he kind of wanted to see what Nurse Jackie was about, and it's pretty good. The best thing we can kind of equate it to is like a way darker version of Scrubs. So if you like Scrubs but you want something like a lot darker and I think a lot more hard-hitting than Scrubs is, Nurse Jackie is definitely one to go for, because it plays on the same ideas of like looking at the inner workings of like the medical field and stuff like that, that Scrubs does, but Scrubs is very lighthearted and doesn't really like veer from that, whereas Nurse Jackie really focuses on the fact that Jackie is a drug addict. She abuses drugs from the hospital. She's having an affair with a man who she works with and has a family, a husband and 2 kids, and like nobody at the hospital knows that she has this family. The only person that does is the main doctor she works with, which is Dr. O'Hara. She's the only one that is like actually a part of Jackie's life outside of work. So it's really good. I really like it. There's definitely some characters I'm kind of just tired of. Like there's one character, Zoe, who's like a medical, like she's a nursing student, and I really don't like her. She's kind of annoying at this point. She's very much one of those girls that I think I would have been if I was in her position, but to kind of like see her be super peppy and annoying is really annoying for me, even though I'm pretty much that same person in real life. So it's weird. It's a weird dynamic. But anyway, I am going to sit and read some of my next book, which is Swords, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels by Lee French. It's another short story collection like Survivor's Guilt and Other Stories by Greg Harry, which I finished yesterday. And this one, though, is dealing with like a bunch of like fantasy stories and a lot of self-rescuing women, which I'm very excited about because it is not often in fantasy stories where you have women involved that are not the damsels in distress. So it is very important, I think, to recognize that. I'm going to see how it is. And I hope that Lee French makes it so that these women are not really damsels in distress and they actually can kick some ass. I think at some point today I'm going to also take a break from it and work on my audiobook of A Clash of the Kings, because I'm basically going to be by myself for the rest of the evening. Robert has to work at 6, so I think once I've gotten through probably about half of Swords, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels, I'll listen to my audiobook for a little bit and work on my new coloring book that I got yesterday at work. So I'm going to have a very nice reading night. I'm very excited. So anyway, I will talk to all you guys a little later with an update. Hey guys, so it is, I think, almost 12:30 in the afternoon. It's actually almost 12:20 in the afternoon. I just got home from work, and so today, before I started my shift, I ended up listening to about an hour and 40 minutes worth of A Clash of Kings. Sorry, I'm starting to pick up some trash that's out here. And I'm nearly done with it. I've only got maybe like 7 hours or so left in the audiobook, which is awesome. But today is going to be a really weird day because I have to finish the book I was working on yesterday, which is Swords, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels, edited by Lee French. I have to finish that. I have to finish like the second half of it today because I need to put out the review, and then I need to start my next book. And tonight I'm going to go see Endgame with some friends. Robert has to work today at 8 until 5 in the morning, so he can't come with. And I have to work tomorrow again at 7:30 until noon. So I need to go to bed early, so I probably won't get a lot done after I get back from the movie. But I'm going to go see Endgame. I'm really nervous. I'm really excited though because Infinity War really messed me up. It really honestly just made me cry so much, and I'm really scared for how Endgame's going to be, but I know that I think there's going to be some good things happening because this is like a really big one, and it's a 3-hour movie, so I'm not going to get home until like almost 11 o'clock, and then I'm going to have to basically go to bed. As far as how much I'm enjoying Swords, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels, it's okay. It's about as okay as Survivor's Guilt and Other Stories was. The stories themselves are actually really interesting. The only thing I don't like is that they all feel like they're supposed to be bigger pieces, and I don't know what this is with me, but a lot of times when I read short stories, unless it's like the ones that are in Survivor's Guilt and Other Stories, I hate short stories because a lot of the time they feel like they're just supposed to be parts of bigger pieces, or they're really condensed versions of bigger pieces. That is kind of the problem I'm having with Swords, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels, because the fact that each of these stories feels like such a condensed version of a longer piece, or they feel like only a fraction of a longer piece, and I don't like it. I am just wanting there to be more to these stories, and I can't get them, and I'm very upset with it. So that's kind of why I'm not liking this as much as I think I want to. But the stories themselves are actually really well written, and they're really interesting. I like a lot of them. I like a lot of the authors that are picked for this, even though I've heard of none of them. And I'm interested to see how much more I like the rest of the stories, because I found quite a few humorous ones. I found quite a few really good ones with some pretty interesting messages about, you know, growing up and being like the only woman within an area. But my food just finished cooking in the microwave, so I'm gonna go grab it. And I think what I'll do is just sit and read more of that, so that I can try to get that done first, because that's my main priority. Is I want to get that done so I can get the review done. And then if I have time, I will start the next book, or I may continue listening to more of A Clash of Kings. Hey guys, so it is just after 11 o'clock at night. I just got back from seeing Marvel's Endgame, and oh my god, I am so impressed. So for those of you that do not want Endgame spoilers, I am not going to be spoiling anything for Endgame, so don't worry. I hate how people go on and spoil things for people that want to see these new movies and stuff, but let me just say that this blew away all the expectations I had for this movie. I didn't know exactly what to expect with this movie, because I knew it was going to be a story of like, well, what do we do now, because everything is kind of in shambles after Infinity War. But there were so many things that were done within this movie that story-wise I thought was incredibly interesting, because the writers basically did a lot of things that were unexpected. There were some unexpected events, unexpected happenings within the story that I think would not have happened if somebody else had written the story, or they had used other writers than what had been done for like Infinity War. And I am just overall so impressed with how the story came out, because the end of it especially, I think, worked so well for everybody. Everyone that was involved with the story got some kind of a satisfying ending for me personally, and I'm really sad that this entire chapter is now over, because for the most part, the Avengers are done at this point, and that's been known for a while, that Endgame was kind of going to be the end of the Avengers for the most part. There is going to be other things going on with like Disney Plus, I think, which is a new thing that Disney is doing, and they're going to put out a few shows with like, I think Scarlet Witch, and I think Loki, and I think Hawkeye. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I had heard. And then I know that there's another Guardians movie going to be coming out, which I'm interested to see, because I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I have no idea what they're going to do with it, because I don't really know what else there is to talk about, unless it's something following something else with what's been going on in Endgame and Infinity War, which I highly doubt, but I don't know, we'll see. So anyway, I'm giving it like a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. I don't care what scale you're on. I'm going to the freaking maximum and beyond that for this movie, because I was just blown away. Infinity War, I think, set up a really awesome story to be told, and kind of have Endgame be as the redemption story for that. And honestly, I preferred Endgame to Infinity War. No questions asked. I am so much more impressed, I think, with how Endgame ended up being than Infinity War, but Infinity War was honestly a really great setup for, I think, what Endgame came out to be. So kudos to the writers and the directors and all the actors and everyone that was involved with making the movie. The special effects, props, costuming, everything was done so well in this movie that I am just absolutely blown away. It is now my favorite movie of 2019, which is not saying much, considering that's the only movie I've gone to see in theaters at all this year. So, because I don't go out to the movie theater much, but anyway, Endgame rant over. I'm so excited that this movie is now out, and I've seen it, and I saw it within like the first week of it being released, because I believe it released at midnight last night, and I'm really blown away with what happened in the story, and I think you guys that are fans of Marvel are going to really like it, because I think that it just wraps up everything so nicely. There are a lot of unexpected things, like I said, though, so don't go into this movie expecting anything, because if you're like me, you're going to have expectations for how things are going to go within the story and theories and ideas of what's going to happen. And they're all going to be squashed because they just do. Still have a little bit over an hour left of my book, which is still Swords, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels. And I was trying to finish it earlier today, but I kept getting distracted. I had a very, weird afternoon where I just couldn't focus on anything a lot, and I think it was because I was getting so anxious about it getting closer and closer to the time I was going to see Endgame. And then Robert and I decided to go out to dinner with the friends that we were meeting for the movie. Robert didn't get to go, though, because he had to work, so basically he went out with me to dinner so that we could hang out with our friend, and then too, he could just see me before he had to go to work. I want to finish Sword, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels, but I also need to go to bed because I have to be at work at 7:30 tomorrow. So I don't know. Maybe I'll stay up and read it. I'm still a little too wired right now from the movie to actually go to sleep, I think, right now, so I might read a little bit more of it if I can, or maybe finish it. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to talk to all you guys tomorrow with my final thoughts for Sword, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels, whether I finish it tonight or finish it tomorrow. Hey guys, so it is currently 7:34 in the evening, and a few things. First of all, I stupidly forgot that we were doing the live show. We were supposed to do the live show tonight at 6 o'clock, and I did not even remember doing it because the day really got away from me after work. When I got back from work, I ended up falling asleep for a couple hours. I took a nap, and I don't know why. I was just so tired. And then I did finish Sword, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels, which I ended up giving a 4 out of 5 stars. And then basically the whole time I was trying to finish the last chapter of that, I kept getting distracted by The Office. So I lost track of time today, totally forgot about the live show, but nobody was even able really to do it because we just couldn't. So we rescheduled it for tomorrow on Sunday, and I have to basically really hightail it because tomorrow I have to go get my car from my parents' house, but I should be back before the live show basically. So we're thinking of doing it at 6 o'clock. So I'm really excited. Tomorrow I'm going to be focusing on doing a lot of different things, but one of those is writing out a lot more of the questions that I think would work, because we have quite a few questions for the live show for the quiz, but it's not really enough to where it's going to be a very long live show. I think a lot of it is going to be focusing on just seeing how everyone was doing with their reading and announcing, the stats for the month so far, because by then we'll have 2 days left of the HouseCupathon. So even if you haven't gotten any of your books done before the live show, that's fine, because honestly, April's been a crazy month for everybody with the magical owls and stuff like that. And yeah, we're not super, strict about anything, because a lot of this has been a test run for us. So anyway, we are excited though to do the live show. We just had totally spaced with the day being so weird. So far today, I've listened to just over 2 hours of it, and I only have less than 6 hours of it left. So I want to try to not finish it today, but get through a lot of it tonight if I can, because tomorrow, since I'm driving to and from home to get my car, I should be able to finish it tomorrow, and I'm very excited. And then I think I will get to read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, even though technically we're supposed to have it done before the live show. I at least wanted to get the audiobook done. I might even just put it on 2-speed, because I know that story so well that it is not going to take me very long to get through the audiobook. I know that story front, back, sideways. As far as my thoughts on Sword, Sorcery, and Self-Rescuing Damsels, since I finished it today, overall, it was not bad. I really liked a lot of the stories that were involved with it. Some were better than others, but overall, my biggest gripe is just that they all felt like they should have been part of larger works, or felt like they were the beginnings to larger works, if that makes sense, and they were kind of just put out there for feelers kind of thing. And I didn't care so much for that, because a lot of them I just wanted the whole story because they were so interesting, and I really wanted to see them more fleshed out. And I guess it was just a little disappointing to see that they were only these short stories in this collection, but Some really interesting authors that I had never heard of. Actually, all of them were from authors I had never heard of before. Overall, like, just the fact that they were short stories left me very disappointed in general, so I couldn't give it a 5 out of 5 stars because I just wasn't 100% with it, but they were all so interesting and so unique and fun that I really liked the collection as a whole, so definitely like it. And it focuses with all characters that are women who are, you know, in their own ways different badasses, and I just loved it. I ate it up. It was so good. So I was gonna actually end today's clips at the last clip, but I decided that I wanted to give one last update for you guys for the night. So I've been listening to the audiobook, as you guys know, for Clash of Kings, but I've been keeping track of my progress in it with the physical copy that Robert had, as he has the entire series. And at this point, in the physical book, I am on page 885 out of 969. So I have less than 100 pages of this left. But the audiobook, I have like just over 3 hours, I think, which that's a little strange that it takes 3 hours to go through like 80 pages. But then again, the narrator of the Song of Ice and Fire books, Roy Dotrius, was incredibly old. Basically, he recorded those audiobooks, I am assuming, towards like the last part of his life, and he lived to be like, I think, almost 90. So he does a lot with it. Like, he does a lot of the voices, and they're really good, but his speech is very, very slow, as it's a very hard book to read when it's fast-paced, if that makes sense. So one example is when I am having the physical book with me, with the audiobook, I will put the speed on like 1.5, because 2 speed, which I would be more comfortable with usually, is just a little too quick for me, because then I feel like I lose a lot of the actual story. Like, I lose a lot of what is being said, because Roy is so very articulate and very careful of how he speaks and how he reads the story. And there's a lot of other audiobooks that if you read the physical book with them, it's not as bad for you to be on like 2 or 3 speed if you can get that, because then it's still easy to listen to. But I am enjoying this so far. Now, towards the end of it, something that I've realized, and I was discussing this with a friend of mine yesterday about, was that this is honestly a little more confusing, I think, than a Game of Thrones. And I believe that it is because the story is a lot more complicated in A Clash of Kings, because obviously this is now the second book in the series out of 5, and there is a lot of shit going on. There is a lot of death happening. There is a lot of battles, because basically this entire book is like a war is starting, and the war is continuing, because at the end of a Game of Thrones, it's the beginning of really like the idea of a war starting between all of the different kingdoms. And in A Clash of Kings, we're following really everyone as they're trying to fight for the Iron Throne. There are really 3 camps of individuals, well, 4 really, that are vying for the throne. We have obviously Joffrey, who was Robert Baratheon's son. He is kind of the heir to the throne, but there's a lot of kind of criticism towards that based on who he actually is. Then you have Robert's 2 brothers, Renly and Stannis, who, because of what Joffrey is considered, they believe that one of them should be at the throne. And then you have Robb Stark, who really doesn't have many stakes when it comes to why he's actually fighting for the throne. He doesn't really have a good enough reason, except for he is seeking revenge because of things that have happened in A Game of Thrones, and he doesn't really have any actual connection to the throne other than his father Ned was the Hand of the King, and for some reason he thinks that he needs to be a part of the Iron Throne, which I don't know if it's more of like he just wants to overthrow all of the stupidity that has gone on in the kingdom at this point, or if he's just wanting to be at the head of it just to be at the head of it. I think it's the former over the latter, to be honest, but he, for some reason, decides he wants to take over the throne. But then you incorporate 2 new perspectives within this, which are Theon and Davos. Davos being one of the knights for Stannis Baratheon, and seeing a lot of what Stannis is up to. Theon basically turning out to be a bit of a dick throughout part of the story. You really understand kind of his reasons for why he does things, and he kind of betrays some people that I think he definitely should not have betrayed, because he's going to get his ass kicked, I think, later. And then you have Daenerys, who is pretty much still trying to figure out where the heck she's going, especially after what happened with her and Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. And Arya's trying to just fight for her life. Sansa's trying to stay alive in King's Landing, because obviously she is now in some great danger because of the fact that she is a Stark and she's still considered Joffrey's fiance. So there's a lot that goes on within this, and I think the further I've gotten through the novel, the more I've been able to get better at understanding the story. But I will say that throughout much of the story, I was very confused with a lot of what was going on, because there's a lot that is really thrown at you. And I will say I still don't quite understand Davos's point in the story, nor Theon's, other than the fact that they provide some fresh perspective about things. Theon, I think, is the least needed character perspective within this at this point, but I think I just have to basically look up some like Spark Notes or Cliff Notes real quick to understand a little bit more of what Theon's story is, because I feel like I just, every time I tried listening to his parts, I spaced out, because one point he was at home after not being there for over 10 years, and then all of a sudden he's back in Winterfell and things happen there. And then there's some people that die, and then all of a sudden he's kind of off on his own. So I don't know. I'm very confused with how Theon plays into the whole story. So I'm going to basically take some time, I think right now before I go to bed actually, and look up his story, because I don't understand how he or Davos really play a role in this story. So I'm definitely going to finish A Clash of Kings. Next book I'm going to be reading out of my arcs is called Song of Songs. It's about the Queen of Sheba, I think, which is by Mark Graham. Now, I don't know anything about this. Like I said, I think it's about the Queen of Sheba, which I feel like has always been used in pop culture references. I don't know, like older pop culture references. I don't know. It sounds very familiar, though. Like the name, the Queen of Sheba, sounds very familiar to me. So I don't know what it's about, but I'm very excited to read it, because I think it's a more fully fledged novel. Like it's like 400 pages even, I think. Hey guys, so it is 8:30 on Sunday night, and I'm going to end the vlog here because today has been a crazy, crazy day. First, I had to do my recording, obviously, so my makeup's been done since like 8:30 this morning, so I need to go take all this off. But yeah, I did all my videos for today. I had to go get groceries, did laundry, had to go get my car and bring it back here, which we did. And I just spent the last 2 hours talking to Adrian, who is one of our prefects for the HouseCupathon, and we also did the live show, which was awesome. It was so much fun. We only had like 2 people show up, but we had a good time still. Basically at this point, we had someone for Gryffindor come into the live show and basically got Gryffindor on the board with the last 2 days of the readathon, and they are now sitting in 3rd place. Basically, Slytherin is in last place with 50 points, followed in 3rd place by Gryffindor with 55. Ravenclaw is in 2nd place with 2,020 points, and Hufflepuff is in the lead with 2,170 points, I believe. So it has been a good day. I had a lot of fun with the live show. We had some really awesome discussions going on with me and Adri, and we have some pretty interesting plans coming up for the next several rounds. So I'm really excited, and I hope you guys really enjoy doing the HouseCupathon. If you guys have any suggestions for us, you can go ahead and leave them in a comment on this video, or, you know, let us know in the Discord. I also wanted to just update you guys with my reading for the day. So I started Song of Songs, which was a story about the Queen of Sheba, and I'm not very far into it at all. I think I'm not even like 20 pages in, I think, with it, but I have just over an hour left of A Clash of Kings, so I think I'm going to take my makeup off and knock that one out before I do anything else for the night, because I don't have very much of it left. So I'm very excited. That's going to get Hufflepuff another 150 points for a 500 plus page novel, and for completing the Battle with Voldemort challenge, which is to read an intimidating read. So I'm very excited, and I think tonight I will read a little more Song of Songs if I can, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to end the vlog here. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will be recording a vlog for the last 2 days of the readathon, as it is still part of the HouseCupathon readathon, but it probably will not come out until probably the beginning of May. So I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.